Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Art Filmscope. Today, we're diving deep into Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Season 1, Episode 8, A Virtuous Woman. This episode doesn't hold back. It's tense, emotional, and really tests our characters in ways that will shape everything moving forward. Let's break it all down. Episode 8 places the spotlight squarely on Ellen Mackenzie and the cruel purity test she is forced to undergo in order to preserve both the safety and political standing of the alliances between the Mackenzies and the Grants. The episode begins with the ritualistic preparations at Castle Leo for the examination, as though it's a religious ceremony, complete with instruments, washing, and a somber atmosphere.
I want you to keep your head.
Out of necessity, he needs me to witness this examination, although once recovered from his
speculums and hoax, though the distinction doesn't really spare Ellen much dignity. Meanwhile, Julia Morrison intervenes. She concocts a remedy, based on historic gynecological texts, to help Ellen pass the test. She and Brian sneak into Leok through secret passages. Julia applies a mixture with Ellen and Mrs. Fitz in her chamber. Another major thread is the reunion between Julia and Henry. Henry arrives at Leok, believing he might be hallucinating when he first catches sight of Julia in a corridor. But the two finally reconnect, share an emotional moment, and their paths cross with Brian briefly. Themes and strengths. 1. The horror of gendered violence, disguised as tradition. This episode leans heavily into the brutal tension of a woman's body being policed by patriarchal authority. The purity test is framed as political necessity, but the show spares no discomfort in portraying how demeaning and dehumanizing it is. 2. Female agency, resistance, and sisterhood. Julia's role in this episode is crucial. Her knowledge, courage, and willingness to intervene shift what could have been pure victimhood into a story of resistance. 3. Power, inheritance, and political stakes. The purity test is not simply about Ellen's reputation. It has serious clan implications. The Mackenzies' honor, alliances, and future are at risk if she fails. Weaknesses, criticisms. A spectacle over subtlety. Some critics and reviews feel the episode leans too hard into spectacle, the gallery of onlookers, the dramatic staging, to the point where the emotional weight is partly lost in the showiness. Men's guilt but inaction. The male characters frequently voice how disturbed they are by the test, but none steps forward to halt it meaningfully. That cognitive dissonance is acknowledged in the script, but many viewers find it frustrating that empathy does not translate into action. A Virtuous Woman is a bold, hard episode. It doesn't shy away from cruelty. It forces a viewer to sit with humiliation and injustice. But in choosing to emphasize female resistance and agency, it transforms what could have been a moment of pure victimhood into a turning point for characters and alliances. The episode advances major arcs, the Malcolm succession, the Julia-Henry storyline, and the relationship between Ellen and Brian and her ties to the Grants. The stakes feel more urgent than ever. And that's my take on Episode 8 of Outlander, Blood of My Blood. What did you think of Ellen's ordeal and the reunion we finally got between Julia and Henry? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss my next review here on Mr. Art Filmscope. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.